Alright, continuing on our introduction to matrices, we're going to talk about scalar multiplication. So what scalar multiplication is simply we're going to take matrices. We can say they can be multiplied by a constant called a scalar, in this process called scalar multiplication, each element in the matrix is multiplied by the scalar to produce a new matrix. Which just means if we're multiplying a matrix by a number, we multiply every element by that number. And we're going to use the same matrices that we used for x, y, and z in our last lesson. So with problem 15, or example 15, we are going to take and multiply matrix X by 3. So what that means is we're going to take each element in X and multiply it by 3. We're going to go 3 times 24, 3 times negative 8, 3 times negative 3, 3 times negative 4, 3 times 6, and 3 times negative 17. You can go ahead and use a calculator to do the multiplication if you're afraid of doing it. When you do the multiplication, we're going to get the resulting matrix. 72, negative 24, negative 9, negative 12, 18, and negative 51. And we're done with that one. So 16, we're going to take 3/4 and multiply it by matrix W. So what that means is we're going to take each element in W and multiply it by 3/4. We're going to go 3/4 times negative 1, 3/4 times 9, we're going to go 3/4 times negative 11, 3/4 times 15, 3/4 times 8, and 3/4 times negative 20. We're going to get the resulting matrix from this multiplication. Negative 1 times 3/4 is negative 3/4. 9 times 3/4 is just 27/4. We can just multiply the numerator. We're going to get negative 33/4. We're going to get 45/4. We're going to get 6 and negative 15. So we can also simplify the fraction if possible. So 15 and 16, done. Let's look at 17. 17, we're going to take negative 5, multiply it by x, and add 2 times y. So here we're going to have a few things we have to do first. Let's start by taking matrix x and multiplying it by negative 5, and then matrix y and multiplying it by 2. We're using order of operations just like we would in basic algebra. So let's start. We're going to have negative 5 times 24, negative 5 times negative 8, and negative 5 times negative 3 we're going to have negative 5 times negative 4, negative 5 times 6, and negative 5 times negative 17. And then I'm going to also, while I'm at it, write out the process or the steps of what 2 times y will look like. So we're going to go 2 times negative 15, 2 times 29, and 2 times 17. We're going to go 2 times 9, 2 times negative 5, and 2 times negative 2. Now we're just going to multiply. So when multiplying, negative 5x is going to give us the matrix negative 120, 40, 15 for one row, 20, negative 30, and 85 for the second row. And then we're going to add to that negative 30, 58, and 34. And our second row is going to be 18, negative 10, negative 4. Now we're going to add the like elements. So we're going to go negative 120 plus negative 30, 40 plus 58, and 15 plus 34. For the first row, we're going to go now into the second row, 20 plus 18, negative 30 plus negative 10, and 85 plus negative 4. So if we combine everything, our resulting matrix is going to be negative 150, 98, and 49 for the first row. In our second row, we're going to have 38, negative 40, and 81. So we are done with negative 5x plus 2y. In problem 18, we've got 4w minus z. So we're going to first multiply everything in w by 4. So we're going to go 4 times negative 1, 4 times 9, 4 times negative 11, 4 times 15, and 4 times 8, and lastly 4 times negative 20. Then we're going to subtract from that z, which is negative 3, negative 2, negative 16, 0, 12, 9. So let's do the multiplication. For 4w, we're going to end up with 4, negative 4, 36, negative 44, 60, 32, and negative 80. Now from that, we're going to subtract negative 3, negative 2, negative 16, 0, 12, and 9. So let's write that out. We're going to have negative 4 minus negative 3, so negative 4 plus 3. We're going to have 36 minus negative 2, so 36 plus 2. We're going to have negative 44 minus negative 16, so plus 16. 60 minus 0. 32 minus 12. And negative 80 minus 9. So when we combine everything, in our first row, we're going to have -1 and 38. In our second row, we're going to have -28, 60. And in the last row, we're going to have 20, -89. Which means we are done with problem 18. Let's look at problem 19. We're almost done with our examples. 19, we're going to take -3 and we're going to multiply that by w plus z. So in this case, we're going to first take w plus z and then multiply everything by -3. So let's first do the w plus z operation. We're going to have -1, 9, -11, 15, 8, and -20. We're going to add to that -3, -2, -16, 0, 12, and 9. So when we add these together, the resulting matrix should look like -1 plus -3, 9 plus -2, -11 plus -16, 15 plus 0, 8 plus 12, and -20 plus 9. When we actually combine things, we're going to result in the matrix -4, 7, -27, 15, 20, and -11. Now we have one more operation to do. We need to multiply this by -3. So we're going to take everything in there and multiply it by -3. I'm going to bring that up here at the top of the screen. So we're going to go -4 times -3, 7 times -3, -27 times -3, 15 times -3, 20 times -3, and -11 times -3. Now let's do the multiplication. Our resulting matrix, our answer that we're looking for, we're going to have 12, -21 making up our first row. We're going to have 81 and -45 in our second row. We're going to have -60 and 33 in our third row. So we're done with 19. We've got one example left. We're almost done. Example 20. We're going to take half of y minus x. So first, we're going to take y, matrix y, and subtract matrix x from it. That matrix, we're going to have -15, 29, 17, 9, -5, -2, and then we're going to subtract from it 24, -8, -3, -4, 6, -17. So when we do the subtraction, we can write it as follows. -15 minus 24. 29 minus -8 is like +8. 17 minus -3 is like 17 plus 3. 9 minus -4, so 9 plus 4. -5 minus 6, and -2 minus -17, so plus 17. Now let's combine everything. Negative 15 minus 24 is going to give us negative 39. We're going to get 37 from 29 plus 8, and 20 from 17 plus 3. We're going to get 13, negative 11, and 15. We're almost done because there's one last thing. We need to multiply everything by a half. So let's do that. Half of negative 39, let's just write it as negative 39 over 2. Half of 37, let's write it as 37 over 2. Half of 20, that's 10. Half of 13, let's just write it as 13 over 2. Negative 11 over 2. And 15 over 2. I'd rather have us keep it as a fraction than worry about putting it in the calculator to get decimal answers. And that actually wraps up our lesson on Introduction to Matrices.